It emerged as a child of necessity to champion reformation of public service, particularly in terms of organizations and institutions eaten by the cankerworm corruption, graft, and related offenses. Born in the year 2000, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Commission, ICPC, has continued to stand tall in the quest to ensure ethics and integrity compliance by public organizations. This has been manifesting through renewed vigor to collect, prioritize complaints, ensure thorough investigation, prosecution, recovery, and most of all, cost-effective corruption prevention. This is Reshaping Democracy. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. We are winning the anti-corruption war as the ICPC says it targets the jugular of those pilfering or diverting public resources and falsifying records for employment and other gains, thus getting plea bargains, recovering huge resources, stolen, and sanctioning of offenders. This and other dimensions of ICPC mandate delivery formed part of the answers to questions put forward by Nigerian citizens to the chairman of the commission, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliyu, who is also a senior advocate of Nigeria.
What strategies does the ICPC employ to ensure successful prosecution of corruption cases, and how does it measure the effectiveness of its enforcement actions?
Yes, enforcement and sanction is one of the national anti-corruption strategy, whereby those that were investigated and found that there is a prima facie case against them, we file charges. Before we file any charge in court, we ensure that there was thorough investigation, so that we have evidence which when we present in court, we will succeed. And also, there is what we call case theory. We build a theory before we go to court and present it. So, thorough investigation is the most important thing. Then, secondly, to go to court and present our case. And also, sometimes prosecution might not give you what you want. And I will give you an example. There are cases of falsification of records which we discovered in some agencies, whereby people falsify their records to secure employment and also they receive salary illegally. So what we usually do is that when we file the charges, we request those who involved, if they agree, to refund the money they have gotten illegally, because their salary they received are proceeds of crime. So once they refund the money, then we will go for plea bargain, whereby they will be asked maybe to plead lesser offense, or if they don't like it, they don't agree with the issue of plea bargain, we will go for full prosecution. But the reason why sometimes we go for plea bargain is that if you do not go for that issue of plea bargain, if care is not taken, you are going to spend more money than what they received. So, and the most important thing, one, is to ensure that the process of crime is recovered. Two, there is sanction. Sanction in order to send deterrence to those who might likely engage in this kind of crime. So, and also for other cases, we look at the cases that have impact, whereby people that are engaged in high crime, maybe let me say white collar crime, like diversion of public funds and other things.
Can you elaborate on the ICP's approach to preventing corrupt practices in public institutions, including an implementation of ethics and integrity compliance scorecard?
Thank you so much, Mr. Gulani. One of the mandates of ICPC is corruption prevention, and there are a lot of strategies that ICPC has been following, ensuring that we prevent the happening of corruption in our public sector, because it is more cheaper for us to prevent corruption than to allow it to happen. And ethics and compliance scorecard is one of the strategies we are deploying in the public sector to ensure that we prevent the happening of corruption there. And usually what we do, there are three parameters. One is the management culture. We look at how the management of an agency is being run, and secondly, how the administrative processes are being run, and also, lastly, the financial management. We look at these three parameters to gauge the agencies, and we have been doing it, and also it is a kind of encouragement to MDS, so because you are going to be gauged along with other agencies, so that when you see your scores, if you do well, we make it public so that people will know that these are the agencies that are on top. Like the current one is the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAM, which is on the top. And also there are those that are at the bottom. And I know that one of the agencies that is at the bottom, the head of the agency reached out to ask, why are we at the bottom of this ethics and compliance scorecard? And we explained to them, this is the issue. We asked for records, we asked for information, but the information was not forthcoming. So that was why when the result came out, they now found themselves at the bottom. And this is helping the agencies to work hard, and also it minimize corrupt practices, because they know that every year ICPC is going to check these parameters, and also it will make public to Nigerians that this is what we discovered. And I don't think there is any agency which would like the anti-corruption agency to go public and say that this agency is low in terms of corruption. So that's why the agencies are struggling, are making efforts to ensure that they did well, so that they will not be described as agencies that there is vulnerability, there are vulnerabilities, and also there is risk of corrupt practice in that place. So this is one of the strategy which we are doing. Also, there are other issues which we are doing for corruption prevention. There is system study review, where we go to the agencies to look at their processes to see what are the issues that happened, so that we now advise the agencies that they need to look at them so that they will prevent corruption. And also, there is also corruption risk assessment, which we are doing in order to foresee if there is corruption risk, and to advise the agencies to ensure that they block all the gaps, so that there will be the issue of corruption will be minimized in the agencies. And also there are other issues which we are doing to ensure that we prevent corruption from happening in the agencies. And recently we introduced what we call accountability and corruption prevention in local government council, because we discovered that one of the problems that our local government council are facing is that there is problem of transparency and accountability. So we are now moving to be proactive to ensure that we bring them into the fold, to ensure that there are no issues, or minimize the problems of corruption in the local government council across the country, most especially because of the Supreme Court decision which grants financial autonomy to the local government council.
Sir, how does the ICPC engage with the public and private sector to promote awareness about the damage of corruption? And what role does the Anti-Corruption Academy of Nigeria play in this effort?
Thank you, Mr. Sadiq. ICPC has been engaging public, both public officials and private sector in corruption awareness, because two of the pillars of national anti-corruption strategy is, one, public engagement, and two, ethical orientation. And we are doing this thing because even this week, last week, we had an engagement with the Honorable Commissioner of Information of all the 36 states on how can we partner together in this issue of awareness and sensitization, because we need people to be aware of the problem of corruption. So, and what we discover is that we need to partner with the ministries of information across the states, because they have the mass media at the state, and they can take our information down to the locals, and also they can use the local languages to popularize our own awareness. Also, also last year and even this year, we had an engagement with state attorneys general, whereby we had one in September last year. We discussed around corruption, how can we prevent corruption, and how can we ensure that there is this synergy between the ICPC and the state governments. And also we went to 5 out of the 6 geopolitical zones, where we had robust discussion around how can we work together, because the issue of collaboration is one of the strategies that both the local and international best practices have encouraged the anti-corruption agencies to be there. And also there are public sector that we have been engaging them in this issue of dangers of corruption, and also how we can ensure there is good practices in where we are doing our work so that it will attract foreign direct investment. And also in our schools, we have been engaging the youth, the students, to ensure that we do that. And also, last year we had engagement with Nigerian Union of Journalists, whereby we discussed around corruption, how can journalists help ICPC in this fight against corruption. And apart from that, we are engaging with National Institute of Public Relations. And also last year, I know that there are some policy dialogues. We were invited by some non-governmental organizations, which we were there. We discussed around issue of corruption. How can we partner? So we have been engaging with people and to ensure that we have taken this message down. And also we are preparing to see how we are going to engage public institutions. For example, we are now trying to see how we are going to partner with Nigerian Law School to talk to law students that are in law school, because let us catch them young, because they have finished their university, they are now doing their own professional training. Before they become lawyers, we want to talk to them. What are the issues that they are going to face in the public? And also for the Anti-Corruption Academy, we have been doing a lot in training of both public officers and also even private sector organizations, because there are a lot of trainings. I know that governmental organizations, they have been reaching out to us to partner together. I know there are some state governments, members of National State House Assembly. I can recall Taraba State House Assembly. They were trained by the ACAN, the Jigawa Assembly. They were trained by the ACAN. And also there are other federal, state, and local governments that ACAN has trained around the issues of corruption.
What training program does the ICPC offer to its staff and public officers to enhance their understanding and anti-corruption law and best practices?
We have developed a curriculum which will enhance the work of our own staff. And this curriculum was developed by our own staff together with critical sister agencies. They came together because for our own work. And secondly, we have been training our own staff in areas of corruption prevention and corruption risk, so that they will know the dangers, and also the areas of ethics in the work environment, and also other public officers, the issue of how to avoid the pitfalls, issue of asset declaration, which is an area where all public officers in Nigeria are supposed to know and supposed to comply. Because to my own surprise, you will discover that most public officers, when you ask them, have you declared your asset, they will struggle to answer, because maybe they have forgotten that after every certain period of time, you need to declare your assets. At the beginning of becoming a public officer, that is for those who are appointed and elected after every 4 years, and also even for those who are in public service, that they need to be declaring their assets and every 4 years. So this is area where we used to tell our public officers that we train that there is a risk. If you fail to declare your asset, there is a problem, because there is a particular agency responsible for ensuring that when you declare the asset, you submit the form, and they go and verify. If they discover there is something wrong, there is a specific tribunal which was established for that purpose. Procurement is one of the risks in public service, because we discovered there are a lot of procurement fraud. So we sensitize the public officers to ensure that there is no conflict of interest, to ensure that they follow due process in awarding contracts, the issue of bidding, all these things. So these are areas that we have been trying to ensure that we sensitize our own staff and also the public officers in ACAN or in function that we are invited, because you find that sometimes some of the agencies are inviting the ICPC to attend some of their own functions to sensitize them. And also we have anti-corruption and transparency units in agencies.
Chidera Emelda Cosmas. Honorable Chairman, sir, how does the ICPC fosters public support and participation in its anti-corruption efforts, and what initiative has it implemented to build trust and confidence in the agency?
Anti-corruption agency is an agency that needs trust. And like I said, that for any anti-corruption agency to succeed, its officer needs three things. You need knowledge, courage, and integrity. So these three things is what will instill confidence of public. And the knowledge which the anti-corruption agencies have is what will now give them the ability to talk to the public, to inform them, to educate them about the problem of corruption. So we have been engaging with different sections of the public to tell them what we are doing and also to call for their support. Last year we had an event in Lagos where we had engagement with some editors. The same thing, we had one in Abuja, and also we engage with the editors because the media is one of the channels that we can send our own information or message to the public. And also we have engaged in several fora whereby we were discussing about this issue of corruption, so the public will know what we are doing. And secondly, we ensure that in ICPC, whatever we are investigating, we ensure that there is thorough investigation, we are fair. We will ensure that we protect the identity of our own whistleblowers, and also we ensure that we protect our witnesses, and also we ensure that we don't charge people to court for the sake of just charging them. If there is a case, we'll charge the suspect. If there is no case, we'll tell the complainant that, look, we have discovered this thing, and as far as we are concerned, there is no case. So if there is no case, there is nothing we can do. Because once you are fair, people will have confidence in you. And also the issue of courage, like I said. Because if you don't have courage, you cannot do this work. And that will give you the confidence.
Is there any overlapping role between ICPC and EFCC in the discharge of your mandate to persecute offenders?
Yes, when you look at it, Mr. Paul, both the two agencies, they have powers to investigate corruption. The only thin line between us is that the ICPC is specifically established to tackle corruption in public sector. So any corruption which does not involve public sector, purely private individuals, has no any government issue around it, ICPC has no role. We don't investigate that. But any corruption cases that involve public sector and private sector, we have the power to investigate. So, but what we usually do, we don't clash. If we are investigating a matter, and somebody now, usually the suspect will tell you that, look, this matter you're investigating, your sister agency or even police are investigating. So what we usually do is that we will write to the police or write to the EFCC, for example, to ask, are you investigating this matter? If you are investigating, how far have you gone in this investigation? If we have gone far ahead of them, we'll now inform them that we are ahead of you, so please, we want you to allow us to finish this investigation, because so that we don't duplicate responsibility. And you know that, like police, they have power to investigate any crime, because it's the first agency that was established for investigation and prosecution of crime. So we don't clash. Usually when there is, and even them too, when somebody raised an issue that ICPC investigating us, they usually write to us that Mr. So-so-so has told us that you are investigating over this crime. Please, is it true? How far have you gone? When we inform them, usually we see that they will tell us or continue.
Chairman, sir, what are the benefits of your collaboration with ACTU and other anti-institutions in tackling corruption and promoting integrity in public service?
Yes, ACTU, because, you know, they are like a watchdog in the agencies, and they are the officers that are working in the agency. Usually we collaborate with them if there are issues they raise with us, and also if there is something much one we raise with them. And also there are, I'll give you an example, there are some agencies whereby the issues that came to us are from the actors, whereby we discover certain challenges and we usually investigate, and we now refer back to the chief executive of the agencies if there are issues that we want him to rectify, or if there are issues that we need to investigate, we investigate. So actors are really important for us. And I also want to use this opportunity to call on, there are some agencies that up now they don't have actors. We are now going to ensure that we move in so that the actors are established in those agencies, because actors are really important because they help us in ensuring that there is good working relationship between actors and us. And also for the other agencies, we have been working closely with other anti-corruption agencies and other sister agencies since I came in as chairman of ICPC. Because what I did, I ensured that we have good working relationship, because this fight against corruption is not only, you cannot succeed in silos, you need others. And also for state government, like I told you, I identify critical stakeholders there. One, the attorneys general, because they are the chief law officers of their states. So that was why I rally them around. As a former attorney general, I know they're working, so that at least they will help us in tackling some challenges. One of the issues which I raised with them is this issue of leakages and falsification of records. Because I told them, you don't need federal agencies to come to your states to block your leakages. You don't need federal agencies to ensure that you don't have people that are working with falsified records. Then secondly, the Honorable Commissioner of Information, because we need sensitization. Because corruption is beyond using law enforcement. You need sensitization. You need to talk to people, because there are cultural issues around corruption that it's only those who have good appreciation of the issue that can talk to the public, to talk to them about the problem of corruption. Because when you look at the third corruption survey, Nigerians have raised issues about unemployment, about living standard, about corruption. These are the three things that Nigerians have been talking about. So if you look at it, even the most important thing that has been Nigeria have problem with, number one issue is even poverty. So we need to fight corruption. So we have been working closely with the state governments. That was why I told you last week we had a meeting with Commissioner of Information. We have with the Attorney General, like I said. And also we are continuing to look at other similar agencies within the state. And also the issue of accountability and corruption prevention at local government council, because we have discovered there are 5 thematic areas which we are looking at in this issue of corruption. One of the areas is human resources. Because we discovered that most of the officers in local government, they don't have the skill to manage the local government councils. So that's why we are moving in to ensure that we sensitize them. Because what we discovered, and also the issue of access to information. In the whole this country, we discover only 7 local government have websites in Nigeria out of 774. So how will Nigerians know what you are doing? So that's why we are moving forward to ensure that each and every local government in this country need to establish its own website.
The ICPC is no doubt making headway in checking procurement fraud and falsification of records, and in doing so, protect sources of credible information such as witnesses and whistleblowers. It has moved into local government councils using public education, training and enforcement to raise the bar of public service delivery. The anti-corruption war by ICPC is covering all aspects of governance to ensure integrity in the public service. See you same time next week. I'm Ayodeji Makinde, and this is Reshaping Democracy. Bye-bye.